Coming up next, we have Simone Douglas with hopefully something that is being sold, because I want one. Ice Boat, Eternal Return, and the Case for Steam. Simone.
Unfortunately, it's going to spend a month melting, so yeah. I want to acknowledge the magnificent alumni here today. I was thinking about a quote by Yeats, which is, and you all know it, that education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. And I thank you for the fires that you've lit, and it's a great privilege to be part of the faculty who are lighting the fires that follow behind you. I'm an immigrant to this country, and I acknowledge that I stand on the ground of the Lenai Lenape. This ground is not mine, past, present, and future. As artists and designers, we are change makers towards a future informed by history, and that must always start now. We acknowledge that one position must inevitably provoke or illuminate the next and challenge the previous. This is the great gift that Parsons at the New School offers, training at the highest level in the act of creativity itself. Creative practice, or FIRE, is crucial in delivering future. The importance of the active creative process through art and design cannot be undermined. In fact, it's an oversight in the push for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. The reality is that STEM is nothing without STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths, so important to us at the New School, the arts. As a faculty, I've been challenged. When I stand with my students and as a program director, how do I deliver through my own research something which is emblematic and takes forward the ethics of the New School? So while I was standing under the sky that you see in front of you, somewhat magnified, I was thinking about something I speak about in some of my lectures, which is this is an image made using the Hubble telescope. A telescope was pointed, camera into the darkest part of space, and over 3 days, out of the nothingness of darkness came light. And so 3 days worth of exposure showed us that there was a part of the universe which existed some time ago, had long ceased to exist, was traveling across time, landed on the photographic plane, and keeps traveling forward, past, present, and future. So standing in this landscape half a world away, I was grappling with this and the problematic of Indigenous history and its intersection with colonial future. With the sketch, I came up with the idea of Ice Boat. Succinctly, Ice Boat will be a 120 feet boat, or a wing if you like, made of ice, which will spend a month melting back into the desert. Essentially, it's an act of apology. It returns the vessel of immigration to the land from which it came from and returns water to a desert where water was taken out by, let's say, naive farming at the time. In its footprint, it leaves a trace or an arrow of red wildflowers that grows behind it. So I was standing in the desert, wondering how I would go forward with this, and it's a cold climate desert, and I was able to using the local clay, make a mold, put some water from a passing rainstorm and freeze it overnight, and hence the first ice boat. What you see here are the models that I've been making over a period of 4 years, getting larger and larger and larger. What I found that over the process of a day, the ice tracks the heat of the sun, and so this became a process about environment and climate change. It melts towards the sun, self-rights in the day. As you can see there, it casts the sun in a reflection of itself on the ground, and then melts back towards the sunset, self-righting overnight and into the night. And then came the conundrum of how do I, as an artist, resolve the great architectural and engineering issues with making a 120-foot boat made of ice that would melt back into the land. These are the wildflowers. It will have an outcome, hopefully here in New York, which will be a boat made of electromagnetic rods, which will pull moisture from the air and knit itself as a ghost skin of a boat. And they'll be live streamed into both hemispheres. So as one boat devolves back into the land, the other makes itself. An act of two suns crossing each other across the globes, or the hemispheres. I commenced working with engineers and architects to problem solve the issues of sustainability in relation to this. Every material used in this project will be returned. I worked with issues of scale. I found when I thought I was making a 40-foot boat made of ice that was too small in a landscape like that, and it rapidly became 120 feet. And I must acknowledge my colleague here, Lucille, for this wonderful piece of design. This gives you a sense of scale. With the architect, we were able to design a system, and also the engineer, where this will be cast, sorry about that. Come back to that in just a moment. Oh, we've gone here now. So this is how architects communicate with engineers when they have a breakthrough. Instead of using words, came these images. Yes, news to me as well. So we created a system where the boat will be cast on site in a cast, and the cast will come apart like an orange peel and be put back together and tipped upside down and put on bogie wheels. And it'll be given back to a community which has been disenfranchised, the Bakinji. And that will become a center through which you pass in order to come in contact with that landscape. This stands on the land of the Bakinji. And you'll have some understanding as an outsider of the land that you stand on or pass through. We will use solar engineering to freeze the water, and the water is reticulated from the spilt water of local community or council outflow. These are some of the sketches along the way, and so there's been this back and forth between the creative voice of art and design and science and engineering and architecture. I really want to acknowledge the importance of Parsons and the New School in making this. I wouldn't have had the conversations with colleagues or classes which pushed this idea forward, and I thank you and also the alumni.